Alors, quelle est la
What
première
were your
sensation
first
quand on arrive à
impressions when you got to Paris?
Alors, c'est vraiment impressionnant parce que
It was really impressive. The setting, the atmosphere, the smells, even the lights were different. It was really just so wonderful. I got a great welcome. I had a great stay and I really don't regret going. I absolutely loved my time in Paris.
Je kiffe mon séjour. Ouais.
Togolese model Alex Seff is walking in Paris on the occasion of the first ever foreign edition of FIMO, that is Togo's International Fashion Festival, which celebrated its 10th birthday in Lomé in the spring.
Bon,
Jacques, where did you get the idea to relocate FIMO to Paris?
FIMO à Paris.
We thought after 10 years of FIMO that it was time to send Togolese fashion, African fashion, out into all the capital cities of the world, starting with Paris.
Tu es aussi créateur.
You're also a designer. What are the biggest challenges that African designers face?
Africain.
I'd like to launch an appeal to everyone who loves fashion living in Africa to start by wearing clothes made in Africa. I'm not telling them not to wear luxury brands, but at the same time, they also need to encourage African designers. We're trying to change African fashion, especially in Francophone Africa. Mentalities need to evolve. People need to start by wearing clothes designed and made on the continent, so that designers are able to make a decent living from their work.
And Made in Africa is a concept that comprises clothes made not only on African soil, but also in the African diaspora.
Where did this passion for Madras begin?
I realized that Madras was hardly known, despite being a wonderful representation of Caribbean culture. But it's also not just Caribbean culture. It's got a wonderfully rich history that's been nourished by travels, by colonization. Madras is a part of India, and Indian migrants to the Caribbean brought that culture with them, where it was reinterpreted, and now it really does travel all over the place. This is a Madras patchwork, which is pretty important to me because it's comprised of all these different pieces with this beautiful cotton and all of these combined threads, which is very characteristic. And for me, they also represent cultural threads. This collection is about the links between the Caribbean, India, and Paris.
Le wax.
So wax fabrics aren't on the way out?
No, absolutely not. I can safely say that we're still wearing wax prints in Ivory Coast. But today, we've decided to promote woven African pani, or wrappers, namely Ivorian pani. And the work that these fabric producers come up with is really remarkable. So it was important for me to reference these artisans from Western Ivory Coast to promote woven Ivorian pani.
What are you presenting today?
The collection is called What Color Are Your Cats at Night? So it's a collection based on different shades of gray. There you go.
Because at night all cats look grey.
That's what you might think, but not always. In any case, there will be a lot of gray cats, but there will also be a fair few cats of some other colors, although not loads.
A collection on the theme of masculinity and femininity?
Yes, masculinity, femininity, but also freedom. The freedom simply to be, and the freedom to be able to say what we want through the clothes we wear. The freedom to walk with your head held high, to accept yourself, and maybe even the freedom to have a message, or to make people accept you, or at least start to accept you.
What does fashion mean for you?
For me, fashion is a means of expression. I don't know if you can see, but I have albinism. It's not always been easy for me here because I'm African, but I've got white skin. So for years, I really struggled to be myself, with how to identify. And fashion helped me to accept myself. Fashion can help us feel worthy. I've worked for different designers. Having that access to fashion, that really built up my confidence. They accepted me as I am. Often when I was doing ad campaigns or photo shoots where I was having my makeup and hair done, Well, sometimes when I saw what they'd done to me, I didn't even recognize myself. And it's then that I started to accept myself, to actually find myself beautiful. That really helped me. And that's why I say that we, along with designers and stylists, really have a very important message to share. Young people are really my priority, really empowering them. It's about expressing ourselves, whether the message be one of happiness or sadness, because that's what my clothes express. And you know, most of my designs I came up with when I was unhappy. And it's true that instead of seeking remedy in drugs or cigarettes, things like that, well, I prefer to create. That's it. I create.
A recent UNESCO report says that Africa is on course to be the world's next major fashion hub, on the condition that the industry receives sufficient state support, a condition that's by no means guaranteed.